I'm just waiting for some people to log on. So, people can hear you though for sure. Welcome to the Secret Behind the Step live Q&A. I'm just giving some people some time to log on so I have somebody to talk to. I'm going to be answering questions that I got from emails or questions that you guys may post while we're live doing a Q&A. So I got my little card, all my questions from emails that I've gotten so far. So, hey y'all, I see y'all commenting. I was trying to do this from my computer, but it wasn't working. So now I got to do it from my phone. So bear with me. I'm going to be trying to read on this small screen and read the questions from the card. So I just want to start by saying The Secret Behind the Step is a blog to help blended families blend well. So to build good relationships with your children, your stepchildren, children, whatever you may call them, parents, families, so that it'll make an easy transition or easy, like an easy process or an easy life, period, with just raising stepchildren or, making it easier for them, because the kids, when, it's a lot of drama and you guys are going back and forth, it just makes it harder for the child at the end of the day. So that's what the Secret Behind the Step is all about, just helping blended families cope with being blended and being able to be blended well. So, okay, I'm going to start with a question. I got this question 4 times via email, and I don't know if it's a good question or a bad question. A lot of these questions are kind of broad, so I'm going to try to answer them the best way that I can. So, the first question is how to deal with a baby mom, or like I say, biological mom, who always want to be around. So, first thing is, okay, so the first email I got, they did expand a little bit. They were talking about a biological mom who likes to plan events for like their whole family. So for like the father, the stepmom, and the kids, the biological mom likes to plan, like, I guess, all kind of things for them all together, and the stepmom is uncomfortable with that. So in that aspect of it, I did answer that question already, but in that aspect of it, what I said was, I just try to keep my house separate than what the kids have going on. Like, for instance, if it's a game, a graduation, a wedding, a sports event, a birthday party, by all means, like, the biological parent, you can't tell their biological parent that they can't be involved. But if it's something personal, like your family vacation, or whatever you have personal for your house, then I would say I keep that very separate. Like, your family is, your family, like vacations or things like that. As far as like other things like games and stuff like that, I would, that's just a given. Everybody's going to be there, and that's okay. It's okay. Everybody's going to be there as long as everybody's supporting the child. That's what's important at the end of the day. I would keep my house separate when it's nothing to do with the child. Like, if we're just going to dinner, unless there's a special occasion or something like that, then we're just going to dinner, with my family. Another way this question was posed, like, if a biological parent is trying to, like, supervise the step parent, like being like over parent them, like whenever they make a decision or whenever they drop the kid off at school or whatever, that parent, the biological parent, is trying to over parent them. What I would say to that is, as long as it's not, I think personally, I think they're going to get tired of trying to overparent. So just let them tire themselves out. However, if it's becoming an issue or a problem, then I would, I think communication is key. I would communicate and say that I'm uncomfortable with this, or, I don't need you to overparent, or, whatever the case may be. And I would talk to, the key thing with that is I will also, that's a conversation that you have to have with the child's father or mother. So if you're the step parent and you are feeling uncomfortable because the biological parent, which is not your mate, is trying to overparent you or go behind you with every little thing that you're doing, or something like that, I think that that's something that you have to deal with your mate with. um, Another way this question was posed is a biological mom being around the family. So that could be very tricky at times. A lot of times with families, if they are very involved with this person prior to you coming along, then they've built relationships with these individuals. And I think that that's something that you would have to communicate with your mate as well, because your mate will have to communicate with his or her family to explain, like, hey, this is my wife now, this is my girlfriend now, you know, this is who I want around, and if it makes them feel uncomfortable. So I know my family, like I said, this is a tricky subject because any of my aunts, or if my uncles remarried, they're still looked at as my aunt, and then they have a new wife, and that's just my new aunt. Like, my old aunt doesn't become, she's not my aunt anymore. She's still my aunt. I grew up with her. I built a relationship with her. So I could say like that could be very tricky at times. The best thing is to communicate with your mate, express how you feel, and also with his family. If you have a close relationship with them, I would express that with them. Most of the times, they get tired of just coming around or being around, and it's uncomfortable. Me personally, I don't have issues with things like that. So I think me and my husband have like a very strong foundation or very strong relationship where it doesn't bother me if anyone else is around. I could say years ago it probably did, but now it doesn't anymore. So like the saying go, time heals stuff. That's all I have to say about that, because that could be very tricky, and the person really didn't elaborate, so I don't know to what extent that is. So the next question that I got by email. Oh, and remember that y'all can write questions on. I'm gonna go through what you guys are saying. Hey, Miss Leisha, what you guys are saying. So if you have a question or a comment, or if you want to just comment on what I'm talking about, everybody else can see, so that way, and I'll be looking back and forth as well, so we can comment together. I think with step parenting, it, like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village, like with step parenting. And I don't think it's one set way. Like, it's no like guideline. This is just how it go. No, everybody's family is different, and I think that you live and you learn. Like me, for instance, I had to live and learn with a lot of situations. So you trial and error. Communication is key. Okay, so enough of that. The next question was how to deal with a child who don't want to go to their other side of the family house on holidays. So I take it like their mom or dad, whoever is not the primary parent. This is just the way it was written. So if I'm wrong and the person who wrote this question is on here and you want to elaborate, please feel free. But what I got from this is, how to deal, well, exactly how it states, if they don't want to go over their other parent's house on the holidays. I would encourage it. I mean, unless like your child is not being mistreated or in no way at all, or that, nothing's really going on, that your child, nobody's harming your child or anything like that, then I would really encourage it. I mean, I think it's good for parents to encourage their children to spend time or build relationship and memories with the secondary parent. Like, if you're not the primary parent, like for instance, if the mother is the primary parent and your child doesn't want to go spend, say you got a shared holiday and your child doesn't want to go spend the time that they have to spend, whatever set hours with their dad, or I would encourage it. I think that that's the problem a lot of times. When relationships fail, we allow the child to then make decisions like the adult, or like have a say so a lot of times. And I think if the relationships wouldn't have failed and you guys were together, then you wouldn't allow the child to dictate so much. So I feel like with that, if your child doesn't want to go and visit their father or mother side of the family on the holidays, by all means, I think that you should encourage it, and talk to the child. See why they don't want to go. Maybe you got more toys at your house than they gonna have at their house. That's not a reason that your child shouldn't spend time or build memories with their other side of the family on the holidays. You know, it could be something. These are children we're talking about. They think as children, and a lot of times we let children make adult decisions, and you know that could be crazy. So, okay, so the next question that I got via email was how to start to build a healthy relationship with your child's step parent after it started bad. So, again, I would say communication. But what I would say about this, because I had this question a while back with someone who I was talking to, and I was talking to a step parent, stepmom. So the stepmom wanted to start a new healthy relationship with the biological mom. However, the biological mom, she wasn't rude, she wasn't disrespectful or anything like that, but she didn't want a relationship. And the stepmom kind of took that as like defensive, or took that as something negative. And it doesn't always have to be negative. What I would say is, because you woke up today and decided, because this relationship was already bad, so that means, probably all parties were bad. So just because you woke up today and said, you know what, no more drama in my life, is a new year, 2017, I'm not going through that no more, whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that that person woke up with the same mindset that day. So just because they're not all gung-ho to start a new relationship with you doesn't mean that it won't happen eventually. I would say, give it time, and little by little, start it with communication. Extend an olive branch. Communicate. First of all, extend the olive branch. She's my husband. First of all, I would say, apologize for whatever you did wrong in that relationship. That doesn't mean that that person is going to apologize as well. Like, sometimes that's what I meant in my blog when I said 9 times out of 10, a lot of people don't enter into the step-parent relationship with the same mindset. This is what I got to deal with all day. With the same mindset, so, and that wasn't like a lot of bio moms, they didn't understand that. I got a couple emails about that, and it doesn't mean anything negative, and it doesn't mean that the step parent is coming in with a clear conscience and a good mindset, and a biological mom isn't. That's not what it means at all. What I meant when I said that is 9 times out of 10, everybody's not on the same, doesn't enter into the situation with the same mindset, is because even like if you're entering into the situation, you're saying, my child's father has a new relationship. He got a new girlfriend, a new wife. Congratulations, good for him. I'm happy for them. Whatever the case may be. She doesn't want to be a part. And then say the stepmom comes into the situation like, okay, well, I don't have any issues with my husband's child biological mom, so then I can, we can start, we can be a whole big happy family. That's entering into the situation not with the same mindset, because this biological parent wants nothing to do with your family. She's happy for you guys, whatever, but that you are trying to build a whole big happy family, and she may not be on that tip. So that's what I mean by entering without, and everybody's not in the same, doesn't have the same mindset at that time. It just takes communication, I think. And I think, oh wait, let me get back to the question. How to build a healthy relationship with a parent, a parent after it started all bad. Like I said, communication. I also feel as though once the situation start bad, I think it takes time. So I don't want, don't give up fast. And I agree, maturity does play a big part in a lot of blended families and co-parenting, because if you're not mature, or if you're not ready to accept the fact that this is your now situation, if you can't accept that, then it makes everything difficult, so. And sometimes I think that everybody thinks, when one person move on, everybody's just supposed to be on the same page. And like I said before, that's not the case. Some people are just not ready, and some people are just not ready to accept that their ex moved on and probably is now living this whole social media happy life, or even if it's a real happy life, they're not ready to accept it, and that's okay. When they're ready, then they'll be ready, or even vice versa. Even the step parent, they're not really ready to. I mean, once you marry somebody, you take on. They have a child, now you're a step parent. So even if, but it may take some time. Not to say the day after you marry that person, you're just gonna be this perfect step parent. No. So I would say try to communicate with the parent, give them time to, you know, get used to the situation. They may have to fill you out. They don't know you, you don't know them. They don't know if they want to be around you at all. They probably don't want to be around their ex. Like, okay, so it takes communication and it takes time to build relationships, just like any relationship. Like it takes time to build it. It takes time to fill each other out. It takes time to build a friendship, because I think with blended families, you need it has to be a friendship. So even if you guys don't agree on like your parenting styles, I think that you still have to build some type of, there has to be a relationship built. Like there has to be some type of trust on all parties, and the mother, father, biological mother, stepmother, stepfather. Even with men, I know my husband. He expressed, if his children's father, I mean his children's mother, if they're married, then there has to be some type of communication. There has to be some type of trust, feeling that their child is okay with this other parent, because you're not just trusting. I know with my family this is the case. You're not just trusting your child with this individual. Now you have to trust your child with this individual and their whole family, because the way my family is set up, if you trust your child with me, then you trust your child with my whole entire family, because that's just how we are. As many birthday parties, sleepovers, interactions, whatever the case is, if I allow my child, I allow my stepchildren, and their mothers are okay with that. But I would just say try to communicate all around the board, as far as building relationships, and give people time, and don't try to push your, like, oh, because I think this is right, on everybody. Everybody didn't come up the same way. Everybody wasn't raised the same way. And that's another issue with step parenting. And I had that issue. I can attest to this. Like the way I was raised is how I wanted to raise my children. I'd never dealt with step parenting before now. So I was in a house with my mom and dad. I'm 31. They've been married 31 years. I got two younger sisters. So, I mean, I've had cousins, who dealt with this, but I didn't deal with it one-on-one. So that was an issue for me. That was a struggle, because my my stepchildren's parents weren't raised like that. So their parenting styles are different. So you have to adapt. Like you have to communicate, and you have to come to the realization, just because that's the way you was raised is not the end all be all. So I would say communicate, and give it time. Build relationships, give it time. I don't see any questions. I'm trying to, or anything that you guys wanted to say or ask or chime in on, or I'm looking. So shoot me a question if you guys have questions, or shoot a comment. Okay, V, go ahead, ask your question. I'm just waiting for her question to come through. So I guess my thing is a little bit backed up. So I'm waiting for the question. Don't forget, guys, it's going to be a new blog on the 19th. Check the website, www.thesecretbehindthestep.com. Any questions, to email Email it to me at thesecretbehindthestep@gmail.com. Okay, so here's the question. So what if the mother changes her number, the child's number, and no contact at all? Well, changing the child's cell phone number and her number, I'm sure if is this the case, the father has her address. So I don't like if she changed the number. I don't. How would you deal with that, Krishan? If the number was changed, I'm sure. Okay, so the child is 14 now, so I'm taking it he has a cell phone, so she changed his number and her number. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that my husband would go to the house to see what's going on or to check on the child. You hold on. I'm really, as a step parent, if you're asking in that perspective or that point of view, that would be nothing that I would have to deal with. My husband then would have to step in. And at that point, I think you would have to involve I'm not going to say the court, because a lot of people try to shine away from court, but I don't think court is all bad. I think if two parties can agree, then to alleviate the drama and all of the rest of the stuff, it makes the process a lot easier. However, if you don't want to waste your time, don't want to waste your money, you don't want other people in your business, then at that point, I will go and try to check on the child. If the mom is going to be hostile, take the cops. Like, that's what they do for. Take a cop and tell them that you're just trying to check on your child, especially if there's no court order. I see, okay. I see Lauren said at that point court has to be involved. I agree with that. I think that if he's 14, he may be old enough to, testify in court and say in court that I want to contact my father, But I think that that's something that your husband would have to, go after and maybe show up at the door and check on his child. Okay, so at what point do you involve the courts is the question. Everybody's different, but I feel like if you involve the courts, if you cannot get any clear agreements, communication, if nothing is working, like you guys just can't agree at all, and maybe the dad's not seeing the child, mom not seeing the child, everything is just all over the place, I go to court. And not to say, I wish that it could be done, with just people, just without the court, could set days or set times or set, because that's all they really do is set days and set times, set restrictions, and then we abide by it because it's court and we have this piece of paper saying, no, you can't do that. So, I think if you're not able to communicate at all with your ex or with your child's mother or father, then I think that you should go to court, because who wants to keep arguing or, having their child involved, feeling like, oh, your mother or father is going to come this day or you're going to be able to go that day, then it don't happen. And sometimes even with court that may happen, but that's when I think, if you just can't agree, go to court and then get it on paper and then abide by the court order. And this is what I wanted to say. Oh, hold on. There's a court order and she still had no, I'm sure y'all reading this too, but she still has no regard for it, and she brainwashed him so bad that he doesn't know what to do. If there's a court order, I would show up with the cop. That's just it. And he's 14. I wouldn't say show up with the cop if it's a court order and it's a young child and you're, that could be a little bit tricky. I wouldn't do that, if the child is younger. But if he's 14 and you have a court order and he's supposed to go with him on a certain amount of days, then I would abide by the court order and explain. A 14-year-old is kind of easier to explain. I want to parent you. Like, I want to be in your life. I want to be involved. And they would understand that, I think. And even if they're going through a hard time, like these kids, they're in these situations and they're hard for us as adults to deal with. So they're hard for the kids to deal with. And the kids, they feel stuck in the middle. But I think clear communication, even with your children, is so needed. Like, it's so needed. A lot of times we say we don't want to involve our kids in adult business, but we involve our kids in adult business by talking around them, having conversations around them, and then letting them choose what they want to do. That's involving your kid in adult business. So you may as well go ahead and involve them in this too. And like, it doesn't really make any sense. So talk to your child, explain, communicate with your child. If she's changing phone numbers and stuff like that, have that father go there. If she's going to be crazy, he's going to have to take a police officer and communicate with the child and just explain to the child. These kids pick up on everything. Like I said in my blog, the kids know who's petty. They know who's not. And 9 times out of 10, I've dealt with like a brainwashing type of situation. So I can attest, as long as you keep communicating with the child and explaining to the child that, this is what it is, this is what's going on, and just explain to the child, be honest, express your feelings and stuff like that. It takes time. It's not easy by any means, but it takes time. But you just have to keep, if it was your own biological child, I don't think, anyone would hesitate with, trying to explain to their child what's going on or make sure their child feel comfortable at the end of the day. So, if anyone wants to chime in on that, feel free. Or if anyone has any more questions, thank you, Harold. If anyone has any more questions, you guys can leave it in the box below. Until then, I'm just going to say, as I started to say earlier, the next blog will be out December 19th, and it is a blog titled, oh, I didn't see. Let me go back and check this question. Hold on, guys. Oh, the blog is titled The Holidays. Okay, but if the child disrespects you, you don't want anything to do with the child. How do you handle that? How old is this child? All right, so I'm going to go into a little personal experience here. So, I went through a little time. I'm going to ask how old the child is. Can you send me the age? But my stepdaughter was, I want to say about 6 or 7. Okay, 16. See, that's a difference in what I was about to say. How I only can probably answer this how I dealt with it. I hope it helps a little bit. My stepdaughter at this time of her wilding out little period, she was like 6 or 7. And when I mean wilding out, I mean seriously, like cutting her hair, throwing desks in school, because it was a major transition that she was going through and she didn't quite understand. And she was probably, your 16-year-old is probably dealing with the parents not getting along. I'm not sure if that's your case. And then it makes the child act out or rebel or get, be disrespectful. So towards you, if their mother or father is disrespectful towards you, then 9 times out of 10, they're going to feel like it's okay to be disrespectful towards you. So I would say watch what you do or say around even your children, but your stepchildren, especially if they're going from household to household. So around that time, she was very off the hook. And it was very, very hard for me because just to be honest, it was like you had to over love, hate, and anger. And that's very, very hard, even for a child that doesn't really understand what's going on. They're just reacting off of their situation or what they are being told or how they're feeling because of what's being put in their head. So you have to like over love those things, and that's hard. It takes a lot of sit down, why are you acting this way kind of conversation and communication, or sit down. And not to say that that's just your job as a step parent, that's also, it has to be a joint effort. And if the biological parent is not going to help, there has to be something between you and your mate to sit down. And because a 16-year-old is a little different because they're older, but you can't just give up on your 6 or 7-year-old. So I would say kind of look at it like that as well. You can't, some children, when they're older like that, you have to let them learn from, mistakes and stuff like that. Even with your regular child, when they get older, they have to be more responsible and they have to learn from mistakes. But I would just try to communicate with them as much as possible, because you never know what they're going through on their end, or what they're dealing with and why they're reacting to the situation as such. I would let them. I Don't get me wrong, we can communicate and we can do all of that. However, you can't be disrespectful without no repercussions, chastisement, whatever the case may be. We were talking about this when I had a sit down for the secret behind the step. But my rules in my house is my rules in my house. So that goes for a stepchild, child, biological child. If you come in to spend a night, whatever the case may be, the rules in my house is the rules in my house, and they apply to all. And there's not certain rules for you because you're my stepchild, and then certain rules for you because you're my biological child, and certain rules for you because you're my niece and nephew. No. Rules are rules, and these are the rules in my house, and you have to follow them. So if this 16-year-old is out of whack and she or he doesn't want to follow the rules, then whatever the way your household is set up, I would say, let your mate deal with it however they want to deal with it, or you deal with it however you want to deal with it as far as discipline. But 16-year-olds are tricky. My oldest son is 12, and if anybody else can probably chime in who deals with this with teenagers, that'll be great, because I really don't know how I would deal with that with the teenager. Like, I don't have teenagers at this point, but I do know that I would try my best to communicate and try to figure out why they're acting this way, and really talk to your mate and have your mate try to communicate with their parent. If it's not possible, then try to communicate with their child. The child may feel a little bit more comfortable communicating with with your husband or with your boyfriend or whoever it is, and telling them why they're acting out this way, or what's the problem or what's wrong. Okay, so I see another question. Hold on, guys. See, this is I'm just reading Veronica's comment about her child. He didn't like the punishment, so he went to his mom's. I think, okay, so understanding why he doesn't want to come over and things like that. I just think that is normally when kids are older, they get like that sometimes. They don't want to spend as much time anymore. Like my oldest son, he doesn't like hanging with us anymore. He just doesn't. Like, sometimes he do, but sometimes he doesn't. Like, I don't know if it's an age thing that they go through or whatever the case is. He just doesn't. Like, he used to love hanging with us, and it does hurt. It hurts, anybody's feelings, but they're growing up, and in this case, if he didn't like the punishment, this is what I mean about kids being able to make adult decisions. He don't like a punishment here, he don't have to go back, and it's not enforced, and it makes it very hard on any household at all. And it's no communication with the biological mother at all, I take it. If there is a court order, I think that your husband would have to really get involved and step in, because no 14-year-old should be able to make decisions like that. Just in my household, you wouldn't be able to make decisions on, if you don't like the discipline, you can't come back. If this court order say you're going to be here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days out this week, then I'm going to knock on that door with the police with this court order, because then that's just like letting your child shine off and do whatever it is that they want to do. And you still have to parent. Like, even if the mom doesn't, agree, or she's not willing to bend or willing to co-parent, you still have to parent your child. So as a step parent, I would kind of like, back up a little bit if he's rebelling against your household and everything, and let your husband handle that. I don't know what else to say, but he still has to be a parent. So he can't, if you're 14, you can't just tell me that you're never coming back. I wouldn't be able to tell my mom that or dad that. They coming to get me. So, like, I wouldn't be able to do that. So, And if there's other issues, I don't think counseling is a good thing. Like, I don't know why everybody thinks that counseling is this bad thing and telling people your business and all of that. Counseling is good to me. From my experience with counseling and from anybody else that I talked to who had experience with counseling, it works. I think counseling is a good thing, and I think counseling is a way for these children to be able to express themselves with whatever it is that they have going on. They have a lot going on, and sometimes if they sit down with someone, it makes things a lot easier. So by all means, if you guys have to do like a counseling session, I can refer you to one that I used. She was pretty good. So you can send me a message or send me an email outside of this, and I can give you that information if you like, or anyone who may want it. I love counseling. I don't see anything wrong with it. I love marital counseling. I love parenting counseling. I love all types of counseling like that. I just think that it makes things easier, and when you're in a setting like that, it's easier to listen to the other person's point of view than to just keep talking, probably when you're in your own setting. So I hope that helped. I hope that answered your question. I'm trying to see if there's, okay, so what if your husband or boyfriend disciplines differ from the way that you discipline? How can you come to agreement? I think that that's just something that you and your mate would have to communicate with. I think that in any family structure, in any home, if this wasn't even a stepchild at all, if it was just your regular biological children, then I think that you talking to your mate about how you guys are going to discipline, that just comes natural. I think with step parenting, a lot of people like go in with like a different mindset as if it wasn't like their own child. I don't know why, but the same way you would talk to your mate if you had a biological child, you guys both had a child together, and how you're going to discipline that child, or how you, I just think you guys have to be on the same page, and it comes with communication. As long as you and your mate are on the same page, then I don't know what else to say. That's just how it is in my house. Me and my husband is on the same page with however we chastise our kids, whatever discipline they get, whatever punishments or anything like that. We just have to be on the same page, and then we enforce the rules in our house. That's just how it works. And maybe their punishment or discipline is different where they go. And that doesn't mean that when they come to your house, just because they go to another house and that's different. No, I use my niece as an example. Sometimes she cursing. When she cursing on her mom and dad or anybody else, it's just like she gets away with it. But she know when she cursed around me that she's going to be disciplined. Like, you're not cursing. So she not Haley, not none of them. Like, I was looking at reading her, thinking that Haley or Mira, one of them cursing, but no. I just think children know what they could get away with and who they could get away with it with. I would just say that. So like me, I would get away with so much stuff with my mom, but my dad, please, he would just have to look at me and I would just straighten up. My mom, I'll try her over and over and over again. Sorry, Mom. I apologize now because my kids do the same thing to me and my dog. So, I would just be on clear communication with your mate and whatever discipline you guys have going on, and make sure it's the same. Like, make sure y'all are in agreement with whatever discipline it is. I'm looking through. Hold on. It's none of your business, Lawrence. God. I don't see any more questions. If you left a question and I didn't see it, let me know. I just want to let you guys know, as I was saying earlier, that Christian wants to say hi.
Hi, whoever's talking to us.
Okay, go back upstairs. So I'm just letting you guys know. I'm sorry, guys. My house is kind of crazy. I am doing another blog. It's December 19th. It is titled The Holidays, and it talks about how to communicate and how to cope with dealing with your child, going back and forth on the holidays. That's hard for some parents, and things like that, and how to encourage your children to build different memories and things like that with their other sides of the family. I think that that's very, very, very important for these children to, have good memories with everyone and not just one side of the family. So that will be coming December 19th. I'm going to do another Talk Tuesday after that. Also, the Secret Behind the Steps store will be coming in 2017. Hey, so you can get this shirt or any other shirts that I have on there. I have chains, I have mugs, I have like the metal coffee mugs, regular mugs, I have chains, I have bags, I have everything. Just little cool sayings about step parenting, just to make step parents feel appreciated and happy. Woo woo to all the step parents out there. That's really actually genuinely have a care for these children and are trying to raise these children the best that they know how. Step parenting could be very, very hard at times. And at times you may feel like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. I can attest to that. I felt in the past like, you know what, forget it. I ain't going to do it. Nobody care anyway. So, so it could be discouraging at times. But I think that comes with parenting as well. Sometimes I don't want to deal with these kids. And that's just honest. So I got all of that kind of good merchandise that's going to be coming in 2017. So look forward to it. It's not going to be all high price. Y'all can support it. It'll just be for things to support the Secret Behind the Step when I do like social events or videos or interviews or anything like that. So look forward to all of that stuff coming up. If you guys don't have any more questions, if you do, you can always email me. I try to respond to emails within 24 hours. I do have a full-time job and 3 kids and a husband, which is 4 kids. So I do try to respond within 24 hours of the time of the email. So if I don't, please bear with me. I'm trying. The email, the secret behind the step at gmail.com. And the website, www.thesecretbehindthestep.com. Check it out. Look forward to all new blogs. Subscribe so you can be up with the latest. That's it.